Most Terrible Day, written on July 15th, 1996. The day of significant pole shift, such as will occur on the next passage of the 12th planet, is one no human on Earth will be able to ignore. For most, it will be a most terrible day. Those who have had no forewarning will be no worse off than those who have heard rumors but have been unable to make changes in their life to prepare. In fact, having no forewarning will almost be a blessing for those unable to prepare, as in this way they will not agonize over choices made. Those who have been preparing will be in a state of high anxiety, imagining the worst, regardless of whether a human realizes what is about to happen, but has been unable to take themselves to safety, or has no realization the effect is the same. They wait for what is to come next, as we have described. This waiting can take the form of distractions such as parties, or denials such as continuing with the daily routine as though everything were normal. But for most, this waiting is a type of breath holding. They are in shock. From the time they realize that the Earth has stopped rotating until the pole shift, they are essentially in shock for days. Wow. For those along coastlines, the hour when the Earth's crust moves along the core to its new position is not the time of trauma until the Earth's core and crust stop. It is then that massive tidal waves roll slowly up into the coastal areas, first on one side of a body of water, and then later when the water sloshes back on the other side. Both tides are equally as devastating. Being on high ground along a coastline is no safety factor if the water has nowhere to go, as the press of water behind the wave head will force the water up when meeting a barrier, so one is flooded anyway. Riding the wave results in being dashed against the barriers, and allowing the wave to engulf one is a certain drowning. Fortunately, a painless death. Thus, those along the coastlines die from tidal waves almost invariably, if they are not dead already. For those inland beyond the reach of tidal waves, the earthquakes are devastating. All but the flimsiest of housing is wrenched so violently that it collapses, crushing and trapping those inside. Those inside tents or straw huts will find themselves, along with their housing, jerked sideways, but aside from the scrapes and bruises, relatively unharmed. Lying on the ground during this time is, in and of itself, a protection, as friction along the ground prevents one from being hurtled. In the cities, structures collapse, creating the scenario seen after major earthquakes in the extreme everywhere. The injured die from lack of treatment, and the living soon sicken from drinking sewage-contaminated water. And with transportation blocked on all sides, starvation soon takes its toll also. Those living on subducting plates that border the oceans will find themselves covered with the depth of ocean water that they cannot resist. They will surely drown. Those situated where rapid subduction occurs on areas above the sea level made themselves on hot earth during the moments following a pole shift, when the crust stops moving and the plates in essence slam into each other like a train whose engine suddenly comes to a stop. Though their height helps, as the greater the distance from where friction between the crusts is creating heat, the better. The heat can be great enough to melt rock, as witnesses who have survived such terrifying sights attest. Volcanoes, active and inactive, will explode violently, covering the surrounding areas and raining rock and dust and superheating the air so that all life nearby is extinguished in a wink. Lightning and firestorms from falling walls of flaming petrochemicals formed during the interaction of gases with volcanic heat and continuous lightning cannot be predicted. They can happen worldwide, and as with the hurricane force winds are a factor of the atmosphere, not the land mass. Where they are rare, these firestorms are devastating and burn all beneath the falling wall of flame in a holocaust. The horrified victims have little chance to even realize what is happening before they are engulfed and lose consciousness from lack of oxygen. As with spontaneous human combustion, the victim is unconscious during the burning process. Protection from this rare chance of devastation is best attained by sheltering under a metal roof which will not burn. In rural areas, survivors find themselves dealing less with the collapse of civilization than with climate changes. At first, stores are eaten until gone, and then real concern about the inability to grow crops sets in. Will the sun never shine through the clouds? More than any other reason, this is what causes pole shift survivors to wander. They are seeking a land where the sun shines as it used to, sure that they are simply on the wrong side of the earth for some reason. Starvation soon has survivors eating everything in sight, chewing on old leather, eating the branches of dead trees, but the gnawing hunger continues. Death by starvation is also relatively painless. As a stupor sets in, the mind is dulled, and languor envelops the human, who is essentially asleep when death comes. And this was posted by ZetaTalk at ZetaTalk.com. So they believe that 12th planet, Planet X, or some people refer to it as NIBIRU, or the horned planet, coming from a great elliptical 60 or 36,000 3600 or 36,000 year old orbit. I don't really know. But this is what Maja Mestroic posted from ZetaTalk, The Most Terrible Day, written on July 15th, 1996. I really like to know what you guys think about this, because I've been hearing stories for years about 2012 and the end of the world, which did not happen. And if people have any insight about this, anything sensible that they like to comment on, they are welcome to post your comments down below. In any case, this is one very interesting story, which I hope does not come true, because it would be very bad if this were to happen. It goes without saying. I think that in such a scenario, worldwide earthquakes, it would cause total devastation, as described in this story. Tidal waves, volcanoes, plates thrust against each other, hurricanes and such. It would be hell on earth. Which I hope that this scenario doesn't happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section, please, because I'd like to know. And again, I haven't heard about these stories in years, so the fact that this has been posted now of all times, it led me concerned, and I just thought I'd just share it. That's all. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to listen, and pray you're all doing well. Yeah, God bless.